Hello all, welcome to this Alto Professional tutorial. This video will teach you how to properly set levels for various input sources on the Alto Pro TS4 series speakers. In this video, I'll be using a pair of TS412 speakers, but every speaker in the TS4 series has the same number of input and output types and settings for each, so everything we cover in this video will also apply to the TS408, TS410, and TS415 speakers. So let's quickly go over what kinds of inputs and outputs you can use on the TS4 series. On the upper part of the rear panel, you'll find three input sources, two combination jacks that can be used with either XLR or 1/4 inch or 6.35mm inputs, and a section for pairing a Bluetooth device with the speaker. For each combination jack, you have a switch for selecting your input type, either line or mic. Select line when using a line-level device, like a mixer, a preamp or DI box, or a CD player, and select mic when using a dynamic microphone. It's imperative to get in the habit of setting your input type before connecting your sound source. For instance, if you were to connect a line-level device to an input that's set to mic, it could be harmful to your speaker. A very important feature for setting proper levels with TS4 speakers is this signal limit LED light. It'll illuminate green when receiving a signal, flickering green at lower input levels, and solid green at higher input levels. If your input source is sending a signal that's too loud, this LED will turn red to indicate output limiting. If the LED is red for any period of time, you need to turn down the volume of your sound source until the LED is green again. As for the Bluetooth input, its controllable parameters are a volume knob, a pairing button, and a stereo link button to link another speaker via Bluetooth to create a left-right stereo pair. In addition to these three inputs, you also have one XLR output called mix out. This can be used to link the speaker's output to the input of another speaker. Before we get to some hardwired setup examples, I'm going to cover how to use the wireless functions of the TS4 series. Let's find out how to link a Bluetooth sound source to a TS4. Power on your speaker, and then press and hold the Bluetooth pair button for 3 seconds. The LED will flash blue when in pairing mode.
Bluetooth pairing.
On the device you want to pair to your speaker, turn on Bluetooth, and scroll down in the list of available Bluetooth devices until you see the name of your speaker, which in my case is Alto TS412. This is the option we'll use to connect to the speaker. In the Bluetooth device list, you'll also see another available device with the name of your speaker followed by _app_BLE. This device is reserved exclusively for connecting via the Alto Pro app. Don't manually connect to this device. We have a video on how to use the Alto Pro app to connect to and control TS4 series speakers. Check it out at the link in the description to learn more. So, tap the device with the name of your speaker to connect, and once you're connected to the speaker, the Bluetooth LED will be solid blue.
Bluetooth connected.
Now, begin playing audio on your connected sound source, and begin to turn up the Bluetooth volume knob on the TS4. In this setup, there are two stages of gain being used, your sound source device's volume control, and the Bluetooth volume knob on the TS4. We recommend keeping your sound source's volume between 50 and 75%, and adjusting the Bluetooth volume knob accordingly. If the signal from your device is too low, you'll have to crank up the Bluetooth volume on the speaker to compensate, which can introduce noise or hiss. Conversely, if your device's volume is set too high, clipping or distortion of the signal can occur. To disconnect a connected Bluetooth device from the speaker, simply press and hold the pair button for 3 seconds, and you'll hear the speaker confirm the disconnection.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth pairing.
The other wireless feature of the TS4 series speakers is stereo link. This allows you to wirelessly link one TS4 speaker to another TS4 speaker and create a stereo left-right pair to be used with a Bluetooth sound source. Keep in mind that stereo link doesn't carry the audio signal from any hardwired sound sources. So once I've connected my device to my primary speaker, I'll press and hold the link button for 3 seconds, and it'll begin flashing to indicate it's in stereo link connect mode. On the other speaker, I'll do the same thing. Press and hold the link button for 3 seconds. Both speakers will play a series of tones while they're connecting, and once they're linked, the link LEDs will both be solid orange. Now, whatever you play from your Bluetooth sound source will be sent to both speakers in a stereo left-right configuration. The one you're connected to via Bluetooth will carry the left channel, and the speaker that's stereo linked with it will carry the right channel. To unlink the speakers, simply press and hold the pair button for 3 seconds, and the speakers will chime to confirm this. Next, let's focus on connecting wired sound sources. Here's an example of a live performance setup in which you may just be using one speaker. So here I have a dynamic microphone and an acoustic electric guitar with active pickups. First, to connect my microphone, I'll make sure that the switch on input 1 is set to mic, and I'll plug in my XLR cable that's connected to my mic. Now, while speaking or singing into the mic at the highest level I plan to use while performing, I'll slowly turn up the channel 1 volume knob, making sure to keep the signal limit LED in the green. Keep in mind that only dynamic microphones can be connected directly to a TS4 speaker. If you have a condenser microphone that requires phantom power, connect it to an external phantom power source before connecting it to the speaker, and be sure to set the switch to line. Next, to connect my guitar, I'll set the input 2 switch to line, and I'll use a 1/4 inch or 6.35mm TS cable. The combination jacks on TS4 speakers can use either TS or TRS cables, so check the official documentation for your guitar to find out which one you should be using. Additionally, Alto Professional recommends only using guitars with active pickups when connecting directly to TS4 speakers. If you have a guitar with passive pickups, connect it to an external preamp or DI box, then connect that line level output to the speaker. Next, I'll turn the volume up on my guitar, then on the TS4 speaker, and I'll play a little bit of something to test the volume of the input. Since there are 2 stages of gain for this input, the volume knob on the guitar and the channel 2 volume knob on the speaker, I need to balance both of them in order to get a clear signal. If I turn my guitar's volume up too high, the signal will begin clipping after turning up the channel volume even a little bit. If my guitar's volume is too low, I'll have to turn up the channel volume to compensate, which can introduce noise or hiss in my signal. The key here is to make small adjustments. Play something at the loudest volume you plan to use, then continue adjusting until your signal sounds clear and the signal limit LED is still green. Now let's add another speaker and use a setup with 2 TS4 speakers. Here I have a DJ controller with a built-in mixer that has 2 balanced left-right XLR outputs. First, I'll make sure that the channel 1 switches on both TS4 speakers are set to line, since my controller is a line level device. Then I'll connect my XLR cables to the mixer's outputs, and then into channel 1 on each speaker. In this setup, we have 4 stages of gain for each speaker. On the DJ controller, we have the gain control and channel fader for each deck, as well as the main level for the entire unit, and on each speaker, the channel input level. Each gain stage needs to be sending a balanced signal to the next, one that is loud enough to avoid adding noise to the signal, while simultaneously not being too loud, which will introduce clipping or distortion to the signal. So I'll start playing something on one of my decks, I'll turn up the channel gain, then the channel fader, and then the main volume output. Then I'll begin turning up the volume knobs on channel 1 of each TS4 speaker until I have a signal of sufficient loudness, keeping both signal limit LED lights in the green. When you're using 2 TS4 speakers with separate inputs from the same sound source, make sure that if you need to adjust the volume knobs on the speakers, that you do so at equal increments. Finally, let's cover how to use the mix-out outputs. When using the mix-out output, it's important to remember that these outputs are not stereo outputs, and additionally, they do not transmit any audio from connected Bluetooth devices. So here I have my microphone and guitar setup from earlier on the left speaker. Let's say I want to use my other TS412 speaker as a monitor. First, with the monitor speaker powered off, I'll take an XLR cable and plug one end into the mix out on my main speaker, and after making sure that the channel 1 switch on my other speaker is set to line, I'll plug the other end into the channel 1 input jack. Now power on the second speaker, and while playing something from your sound source through your main speaker, slowly turn up the channel 1 volume knob on the monitor until you've reached a sufficient level. Remember to keep the signal limit LEDs on all speakers in the green at all times. So, now you're armed with the basics on how to use the inputs and output on your TS4 series speakers. For more resources on using the TS4 speakers, and to access Alto Pro's technical support team, head over to altoprofessional.com/support. Thanks for tuning in, and have fun using your TS4 speakers in your setup.